Radio Zero.
One, two, three. Check. It's
I-
Radio Zero.
I muted.
Rick and Rose.
We were unmuted.
Was I eating or something?
No, I unmuted but it was unmuted already, and I hit the mute buttons and wound up muting us.
Sure, you have a reason for it.
Yes, Radio Zero. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Go to radiozero.us. We're live streaming on Facebook on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page. On Twitch at PCJCUSA. We had a record 2 people watching on Twitch last
That's
time, I
great.
believe. And on the Poster Children YouTube channel.
Like by accident? Well, this isn't
Poster Children.
I can't even find the face. What is it? Radio Zero page now? I gotta
You
look
can
for-
patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thanks to everyone who is patronizing us.
Oh, there it is. Radio Zero. Wait. See, like last time I was. Oh, hi, Dannon. He says Happy Friday. All right. So, there are we on? Are we in the air?
I hope so.
We had such a strenuous. Well, first I want to start off by saying that there's a lot of momentum going on here in Poster Children land here, because something incredible happened this week to us, right, Rick? Do you remember? And we're getting all kinds of press for it now, and that is that Danny Ingram wore our T-shirt, wore a Poster Children T-shirt in social media. And so, like, from then on, I got to talk to Peter Davis for for a good 45 minutes, like over Facebook about old times and stuff, and like all of a sudden we're cool. So those of you
it was members of Youth Brigade, right?
yeah,
And,
yeah. Who else did I get to talk to? People like a good 3 or 4 people sent that picture to us going, you know this guy? Like, it's like, why is he wearing your shirt? Is there another Poster Children? He's way too cool to like you guys. So, Danny, I don't know if you're...
Nostalgia
Oh, there he
loop.
is, wearing a different one now. I hope you're wearing a different shirt.
Yeah,
But
definitely was
that's
a deep nostalgia social media loop, and yeah, we definitely got...
Oh,
got
my
some,
God, we were cool for like a good 3
yeah,
days from
great.
that. Thanks, Danny. That was, and then you're okay. So your last name is in parenthesis in my book. I was talking about Swerve Driver and said, this Danny from Run Westy Run or something joined, and then
No.
and then
Oh, yeah,
no,
the
and
other
then
Danny.
another
That's
and then
right.
another
I forgot
Danny.
about that.
Yeah, and then
There were
another.
2
Well, you're the one
Dannys.
who reminded me.
Yeah, I
another
forgot.
Danny, and then in parenthesis Ingram. So he's in our book. So I don't feel so bad. But man, did we get a. We are you in the index though? That's what I forgot to check. May not be in the index. May not have made it into the index. Hand me that book. Is there a book over there? I gotta look.
No.
You must have thousands of them just laying around. Okay. Well, anyway, that was the excitement for this week. That was really my our fellow professors too. They were like, "Did you see that guy wearing their flower pot?"
Really?
No.
No.
But
okay.
oh, you are. He is in the index. That's great. That's awesome. Good. The all-powerful index. That's right. Andy, I think Andy sent it too. I'm sorry, but like they tell you when you're, all you book authors, they tell you you're gonna have to pay for somebody to do your index. We're not gonna do it for you, or you do it yourself. But that's like the worst thing you'll ever have to do in your life. And I've talked to other authors, and they're like, that was the worst thing I ever had to do in my life. And I was like, for me, it was the summer, and I was sitting out there in the summer. And it was warm out, and I was just sitting on the porch, indexing my book. It was awesome. It was the best thing ever. I want to just write an index for a book.
Maybe you
That's
can do
the
that
next
for
thing I'm
other
gonna do.
people.
No, I want to do it for me. I wouldn't. Then I have. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
That's what they always say. If you're going to write a book, start with the index.
Andy says his publisher doesn't even let them do their own indexes.
Yeah.
Is it indexes, Andy, or is it indices? it's probably indexes. Okay, so like here, Rodney Rodas, are you new? I don't recognize that name.
What are you?
What are you new? Hello to you too. Dan says he got his book, but he hasn't started reading yet. He has a flight to Denver tonight and will be reading on the plane. That's good. Make sure you like read it prominently in the plane so other people can see, what is that book? And then Chris Walker says, is Rose going to be on The View or Drew Barrymore's show to discuss the book? Well, we've already been on and then Andy says, part of the contract is that they hire someone. What am I, a copy editor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta move.
We're working on the Drew Barrymore show.
Yeah, we're like literally working on it.
Yeah, we go in at night and clean
the toilets.
Clean up. Yeah. No, that reminds me though is I watched E.T. over the weekend for a different podcast.
You're I'm practicing now. You're changing the subject from my book. You were saying about me though.
Drew Barrymore.
Oh, okay. That's right. She wasn't. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. But we should talk about E.T. a little bit.
Don't. No.
Oh well.
No.
Okay.
There's another podcast you can listen to about E.T.
But so we just were on Sound Opinions. I can say that, right?
Well, we got interviewed.
We're not going to listen to.
You don't know.
Oh yeah, we got interviewed. It may never.
It was a great conversation though. It was
oh
nice,
my
nice talking to
God,
those
they
guys.
were like, oh God, and they had read the book, my book, and they said I was the most self-effacing author ever. So I'm going to unself-efface myself. I'm going to practice that. And then they asked me the question about what was, the woman question, and I didn't know how to answer it. So thank God Rick was there to answer it for me. That was great.
Worst, yeah. I've been in a couple situations where.
Listen, let me tell you.
You asked me to be there, and I was there to provide moral support. I was trying not to actually say too much because, it's your book.
Yeah.
And
you
don't need a mansplainer there, but
I do need a mansplainer.
I had a little bit of that same feeling. There was an interview once we did as faculty, actually, where it was like, why am I here? It's like this person doesn't want to talk to me. I had a little bit of that feeling.
Today?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, no, yeah, a little bit, yeah, because it's your book, and you should be talking about it, and there's no reason for me to be there other than the fact that you're self-effacing and
I'm not self-effacing.
Nervous about talking about yourself.
The book is about poster children.
That's true.
It's about like me, and it starts like I told them, like the first two words in the book are Rick Valentin for a purpose. It wasn't like
That's
accidental. Right. Like we're a team.
I understand.
You know
that.
how you were in, anyway.
But if we were a team, then my name would be on the cover too.
Well, your name should be on the cover.
First word of the book.
Didn't I ask? Wait a minute.
Right there on the spine.
I asked you if you wanted it to be by Rose and Rick, and you said no.
No, because I didn't write it.
And then on top of it, you're like, well, you did. You helped.
There's a difference. There's a difference between
you helped so
much.
No,
you're not talking enough about yourself in this. No one's going to read it. It's
no. That's not how you helped. No. You helped that way too.
But if anything, I was
Andy's saying, is it in the index? Rick is not in the index. He's actually not in the index.
That's right.
Because he's too important. He's part of the book. I mean, not that you guys are not important and you're in the index. Fuck it.
Whoa, man. You're just digging a hole here. How can
but
someone be
really
so
good...
self-effacing and then also so rude?
Yeah.
And inconsiderate?
Does Rick get his own entire page? The book is written because when you read it, Andy, I'm going to give you guys a test.
No questions until you've read the book.
No. You'll see. It's. I said the whole book is written because of Rick. Yeah. You're my muse, and the only reason that it's not that you didn't write it is because you're a perfectionist, and I'm not. I'll just poo diarrhea words all over.
I didn't write it. It's not that I'm a perfectionist.
I wrote all the lyrics. Let's see what the other thing says here.
I just don't.
Oh, not new. Loved you
difficult.
guys since '92. Oh, Rodney. Okay, you just don't like writing. You're a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, that's the kind of thing that someone says about themselves when they're in denial. But that's
no. I know you're. I'm not saying.
I don't think it's because I'm a perfectionist. It's because writing does not come easy for me.
Writing comes really easy for me.
Yeah.
lazy writing especially. I'll read it as soon as it is shipped to me. Ooh, Andy says.
I'm trying to remember where we're at. Yeah, so
We ran out of books already.
but then I've started shipping again as of last night, and I'm trying to remember if
as of
Andy's
this morning.
Yeah, so I can't I feel like maybe
Andy, you're under L.
Well, no, it's not alphabetical. It's in order of orders, and I'm in end of January orders now. So.
And then I made him. So now that we have like a box of my quote free books, which I don't have. We don't get any. We got like 8 or something, 8 books for friends and family. But there's a lot of people who are still waiting for their books that actually have writing in the book and stuff. So, yeah.
I'll be working on that tonight in
Thanks,
my
Rick.
sleep.
That's why you're in the he's what are you, office boy, warehouse boy?
Stock boy?
Stock boy, no, warehouse boy he called
Warehouse
it.
boy.
Anyway, that was really, really nice. So Jim DeRogatis and Greg Cott, like somehow we got ourselves to be interviewed by them. Like wasn't like, to me that's like I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna
No, that's
yeah,
great.
it was like I was like, I can't believe it. And it's the first interview too, like the first talking interview on is pictures of Rick in color. I would like to see a Rick coloring book. Oh, that's a great idea, Larry. That's pictures of Rick to color.
So I don't have to write.
I can make that's going to be something I'm going to do. I'm going to make like a coloring book of all you guys. It'll be like Jim doing something and then Matt doing something. That'll be like Matt listening to a what is it? Not a podcast. What was he always listening to in the van?
Oh, I don't remember.
What is that called?
Frontline?
Well, yeah, that too. We could be all sitting, sleeping.
In front of a TV.
Hell yeah. How
Frontline.
cool would that be? Rick in different scenarios. Rick at the circus, Cowboy Rick. That would be good. Yeah. All right. That's going to be my second book.
That actually sounds like a really bad idea.
It sounds like an awesome idea. But anyway, punk rock coloring book. Yeah. Yeah, Lars.
I had one of those.
Idea.
Our kid had one, right? I
Punk
took
rock
a couple
coloring
of
book?
pictures of the punk rock coloring book. Or it was like music coloring book, and so it had a page that said punk, and you could color it in.
Oh, I don't remember
Maybe
that at
I'll
all.
use
Are you
that
writing?
as an
Write
image.
down punk. Write down coloring book. Poster children coloring.
I'm
book.
writing it down to remember to use that as the image for
I know,
today's
but
episode. I'm not gonna.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. So anyway, do you remember they understood my book too? That's what I couldn't believe. Like I can't like it's just like a bunch of farting and rambling and stuff about all the stuff that we've done, right? And then somebody telling me you got to do it this way, and then me going, oh, okay.
You're really selling this book.
It's awesome. Yeah, but they understood it. They quoted the end to me. That was so cool. I'm sorry, but that was so cool. And then I realized, they're part of the Chicago scene, and we're part of the Chicago scene. So, but it's so cool to be like, that's I'm just
Don't spoil
just
it.
Absolutely
Save it.
floored.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, yeah, Rose has a new book out.
No, they're going to be like, well, we listened to your podcast and you talked all about it, so we decided to edit the interview down to about 1 minute because
They're not going to listen to this. Come on.
I'm just
Okay.
don't.
So Rick with Michael Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Rick is Knight Rider, right?
Like me as
they made
car.
an Aliens one, so Punk is just as inspired. Oh, this is such a good idea.
Is it? I don't think it is a good idea. Go on.
Okay. No, you just threw me for. All right. So I'm done talking. I'm done. I'm just gonna sit here and talk about all my idols. So, and then yesterday I got Ian Mackay to talk not in my music business class. I just barged into the music business class at ISU. Our friend Ben Arguelles is teaching that class now, and I forced him to let Ian Mackay talk in the class, so that was good. And there were dudes, like local dudes, there too, right?
Local dudes.
So the owner of Waiting Room Records, Jared, was there, and somebody who works there, Zach, and then Sean from. I'm going to get it wrong now. I always say the wrong name and I have their T-shirt. What's the band name from here? Negative.
False negative.
Yes, great name. Was there. That was really cool. That was really cool that there were people from outside. I know you're not supposed to have people from outside a class in a class, but you can if
That's
it's an
not
invited.
true.
Yeah. Yeah, you just can't. Students can't hang out all the time in another class. I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, this
we're
was
part
a
of the
special.
community.
Yeah, it was a
The
special.
university
Yeah,
does
but
want to be part of the community, so having people from the community come to guest lectures and things like that, that's not a problem.
I'm sorry. I felt like I won yesterday. That was like the greatest thing. And Ian was great, as usual. Like the one thing that Ian does really, 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 really well is you can ask him a question and he's going to answer it for 20 minutes and then bring it in like to the close. He's like he'll go. It'll just be like this. It's expansive, amazing answer to a question, and then just brings it right home at the end. And then it's funny too. At the end, he would go, "Did I answer your question?" That was really, really great. So I had a good week.
Good.
Yeah. So how was your week so far?
I'm a little tired.
Senator Valentin, can you talk about what's like anything? Rick is on like pretty much every important committee. I just burped that there is at Illinois State University, even the secret ones that he can't talk about. Like actually most of them are secret ones that he can't talk about. So he just comes home and he's like, "You wouldn't believe what happened." And I'll be like, "What?" And he'll be like, "I can't tell you."
That's I don't know.
But I really wish I could tell you. Oh my God. Or
I don't
that's
feel
just
like
me.
I don't feel. See, now that sounds much more exciting than the meetings I've been in. But
Well.
No, I don't know if I'm on every.
You're working on the new strategic plan for the university. So I wouldn't, if I didn't work at a university, I probably wouldn't know what that was.
Everybody knows what a strategic plan
Except
is.
for me, I didn't know. So,
It's kind of like a mission statement.
yeah, mission statement, right.
But longer.
Yeah, right. So when the mission statement or the strategic plan came out for like the previous one, and it's ending this year, I like read it and I was like, oh, this is like everything I believe. It was really good. I don't know, like
Yeah, I know the bar is high. Actually,
the bar is really high. It's really, really fantastic. It talks about, like there are 5 different points to it, right? It's called Educate, Connect, Elevate. You can look it up on the Illinois State University website, right? But it's just, here's how we're going to do teaching excellence. Here's how we're going to do diversity and inclusion. I can't remember what the other 3, it's just everything that you would ever want in a university. It's there, and it's like talks to you how to do it. And so then if you want to do something like, I want to have, Ian Mackay come and talk in a music business class, and I don't teach, I could find like there'll be like 2 or 3 or 4 points there, in somewhere in this huge strategic plan that is like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it does. It brings community and college together. My ear is itching. It's just really, it's great. So, and you're
Squirrel.
on, yeah, sorry, and you're on the committee that's developing the next one. And I heard some of the other people who are on it. I know some of the other people who are on it. They're all like crazy, brilliant people like you. So that's really cool that you're on it. And you can't tell us anything about anything about that, right?
I don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
All
if
right,
it's
fine. But it was, but you had, was that the first meeting today?
no.
All right. So, and then you're on the Senate. This is why you're tired. And then, then he comes home and he wraps up all my books. And then, what else do you do?
I've been trying. I've gone off the deep end. I did a little bit of recording with my
swims.
old 4-track cassette recorder.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
And
you stole Matt's, right?
I liked that better sounding than all the stuff I've been doing with my digital equipment, even though it was a 4-track cassette.
Was it warmer and fuzzier?
Yeah, and not just warm. No, it was also brighter. It just gets scooped and compressed and all kind of stitches together everything that people talk about analog tape. And then so I was working on that, and I was starting to run stuff through a different cassette machine. And then we had a rehearsal last weekend, and I noticed that Matt, the drummer, had an 8-track cassette. And so one of the problems I was running into is that I couldn't record stuff on 4-track, like the bouncing process. So like if you really want to do 4-track right, if you have more than 4 tracks that you need to record for a song, you bounce them down to stereo or mono, and then you record 3 more tracks and, ping-ponging.
Wait a minute.
Bouncing, and I didn't like the way that sounded, and I'm like freaking out, and then I'm like, maybe I should buy an 8-track cassette recorder, like the last era, not the high end, but basically the most advanced cassette recorders got was like they started putting 8 tracks on the cassette, and then as we were rehearsing, I was looking up on the shelf in Matt's rehearsal space in his house, and I was like, "Is that an 8-track cassette recorder?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then I said, "Can I borrow it?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, but now I feel like I should be using it." And then I brought it home, and it didn't work. The play and record didn't work, and then I watched a video on YouTube, and this is what's kind of changed my life. It's like I did a lot of analog tape recording in the 80s, and then in the early 2000s, like that, No More Songs About Sleep and Fire was recorded on an analog machine I had. But then most of the time I've been doing digital, and one of the hassles, obviously, is just maintaining the equipment and keeping it working, and it didn't work, but I watched a video on YouTube, and a guy just was opening up one of these tape machines, and he said, yeah, usually what happens is after 20 years or so, the belt that drives the cassette, the record function and play function melts, just kind of degrades or breaks. And I opened up the machine and looked inside, and there was a big black blob of rubber where a belt should be. Like it all wadded up into almost like a little tiny super ball. And so then I ordered, and the guy said, yeah, just order a belt on eBay. And I did that. And yesterday morning, no, when was it? It was before I went to the Senate meeting. I got everything ready, and then I got the belt in the mail, and I just went downstairs and spent an hour installing a belt in this, and I think it works. It plays now. I haven't tested the recording yet. And then I got obsessed with that 16-track analog recorder that we used for No More Songs About Sleep and Fire, which I hadn't used for 20 years. Literally 20 years ago, I stopped using it because something broke about it, and then I was like, well, maybe it's a belt on that. But then I opened it up, finally learned how to open up that machine that it's been just sitting in our houses, multiple houses, for the past 20 years. I think it was in our garage for a while, actually.
That's the one that's oven-shaped?
Yeah.
It's shaped like an oven. I mean, that's how big it is.
And
where is that? It's in your studio downstairs?
Yeah, it's just been in the basement.
Okay.
But I think it was in the garage for a while. I opened it up. No belt. I remembered, oh yeah, no, this is no belt machine. This is, direct drive. And then I like poking around trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and then I saw there's just a little tiny spring that broke. And that was why I stopped using it 20 years ago. But I didn't have the internet to go searching and figure out what was wrong. But I didn't even need to. It was just the thing, fixing the 8-track cassette recorder was enough to give me confidence to then just open up, I should open up this stupid tape machine and see what's wrong with it, and then try to get it going. And first off, I turned it on, and it all powered up. Hadn't turned it on for 20 years, and it worked. Turned on, at least. And then I opened it up, spring's broken, tried to get a replacement spring, couldn't. Then I just realized, I can jerry-rig something. And then I'm slowly working my way through getting that machine going. It was, the worst thing is that all my old tapes were 456 tapes, which are very gummy. And so like if I try to play them on this machine, they just shed, and then my calibration tape doesn't even move across the tape heads. It's so gummed up, and so I'm. Are
you going to bake them?
I don't.
Can those be baked?
I would bake them if I needed to get stuff off of the tapes, but I don't think I need to. Or if I do, I'll bake them. But no, I just bought new tape.
Larry's asking, how about our old reel-to-reel recorder?
That's what this is.
These are. Yeah.
This is the one that I'm working on now. Is the 16-track, because 4 tracks isn't enough, and then I'm realizing 8 tracks isn't enough, and
Matt
then it's
his
like
back.
Yeah, I have to give Matt his back, and then.
So wait, the 8-track is this all goes on a cassette.
Yeah, it's insane. Okay. The 8-track cassette is insane.
And now the 16-track that you're talking about, that's quarter-inch tape.
1-inch tape.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The last record, the Grand Bargain, the last Poster Children record, we recorded on 2-inch tape, but with a 16-track head. So that record has the tracks are twice as wide, but typically that 2-inch tape is people do 24 tracks on those. So in the past, when we did analog recordings, like in the in studios, we had a 24 track 2-inch, but this is a 16 track 1-inch. I actually have a 1-inch reel to reel 8-track machine.
Yeah, where's that?
That's in the basement.
In the basement
too.
also. I don't
in
feel so
pieces.
bad about having like. What do I have? Like a lot of clothes. But I wear. Well, no, I don't wear them all.
So I've decided that I have been in denial for 20 years, and I just have to do everything on analog. But I'm sure 2 weeks from now I'll say, that the analog stuff, it was a nightmare. I'm back to digital. It's just me procrastinating and not finishing things.
Larry's saying the ones with the big reels of tape, they look like the size of movie reels.
Yeah. That's the 16-track one. This is what I'm working on. The oven-sized one.
Yeah, but it looks like an oven and like a stove. Like where the stove parts are, that's where the reel-to-reel is.
Yeah.
And
the reels are like,
But
big.
it's as God, I keep getting shocked. It's the size of a stove. So like instead of going and making your ramen noodles, you stand over it and there's two giant reel-to-reels and they go like that. And it's 1-inch tape.
Yeah, and I listened back to No More Songs About Sleep and Fire, and then the EP On the Offensive I did on that machine also, and they sound good. So I think a lot of my problems with, I mean, this again is denial, with the recordings I've done not on analog tape. I feel like maybe all my problems will be solved if I could just do everything on analog tape again.
Like problems that don't have anything to do with music too.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Like
going to solve like my life will be better.
Anxiety anymore.
Yeah,
You'll
exactly.
be like, oh, it's probably true. Just go like, well, okay, so
it's kind of like using your phone, right? Like using your phone all the time. You lose your ability to be patient and everything like that. You're just constantly being rewarded. I mean, it's entirely possible that it may actually solve a lot of problems in my life, because what I liked about when I was recording with the cassette 4-track again is I was blind. Like my eyes were not a part of the process, and that's always been an issue. Even the earliest days when I was doing digital stuff, I would turn off the monitor and play stuff back, because just watching.
Oh, you just get
watching on the screen,
because you're watching waveforms.
Waveforms.
Yeah.
You're no longer existing in this
audible.
This kind of like
audible space
area. Yeah, this third space in your brain, which is the audio, and you're just kind of throwing audio into this black hole, and it's coming back out. Having all that visual feedback does affect things. So I don't know. We'll see.
There was like a time when I hadn't played music for like a year or two. And then we got back, we started playing together, like you and I, like it probably was after our baby was born or something like that. And we just didn't have time or something. And then we started playing again. And I was like, oh, I understand what you're talking about. Like a completely different space that you can read in your brain, but it's like a time-based space and you're watching with your ears and your brain, you're watching the notes, like you're trying to decide where, and I just remember thinking, oh my God, I haven't been, it's like probably like, going back to a drug that, you hadn't taken for a long time.
And actually, I mean, not to blame the kids for this, but really when I stopped doing analog, I mean, that analog stuff, it all kind of stopped after our first kid was born. And it's also just the amount of time it takes, the extra time, where it's kind of like once you get into that parent mode where you're kind of desperate for time and you don't have as much, you just don't have the luxury of time anymore. Digital recording is just faster and less work, less maintenance involved.
And Larry's saying, hearing this, my thoughts are going back to the movie Blowout with John Travolta. Reel-to-reel recording is featured prominently in that movie, and of course, we'll have to mention Blow Up, of course, with which is the
inspiration, photography.
But I wanted to say, so it's talking about using your phone, man. I've been using Adobe Express to like make these posters, because somebody asks you to make a poster, and you're like that's like basically, for me, it's like asking a chef to make a meal. I can't just crap out a poster. I'm a chef, and I'm a bad chef at that. I'm like a really bad chef that like will just put anything into the food. Like, oh, I'll put marshmallows and pineapples and hot dogs and stuff, right? So
And
like
you don't follow the recipe.
I don't follow as a cook, I don't follow the recipe. It's true.
Or it's like,
yeah.
this says only use 2 fonts. Don't use more. And
Exactly,
it's like,
yeah.
The recipe says that. But you know what? I think I'm going to put a couple more fonts.
Look at this font. Look at how you
couple
easy.
more
If I just
typefaces in here.
If I just press this button, it puts a shadow under it, and it looks so cool. So Adobe Express does that for you in your frickin' phone, right? And then there's like a remix button, and so you just put the words in, and then you can like click design, and it'll like change the design for you. It'll like just like it's got some kind of AI in it, like it's like that knows where things ought to go. Right, so it's just, which is not astounding or amazing. It's doing its job. It's doing what it's learned, what looks good, from hundreds of thousands of clicks, right? That and rules that graphic designers have created. But like, it's like, this is how I felt when I remember when I started writing this book. I remember saying to my dad, it's like I'm dropped in a boat in the ocean and I can go any direction. Like I have and I could also go down. I could also drown. I could just jump off the boat and drown right now. So
and that's the parallel with digital recording, right?
Yeah.
And I've done I really do work hard on not allowing myself allowing myself to do everything that's possible in the digital realm, right? That's the thing is I always lose it, but it's like, oh, I'm only going to do 3 passes on this. I'm not going to do 100 and then comp it. But I wind up doing that. But that's like going back to analog. It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, maybe part of why this is good is because I'm not spending so much time fixing things I'm living with the messiness of it.
That's what I've been doing. Like, so like for the last night or 2 nights, I don't even know how long. I'm just my samba blocko is playing, not mine, but the samba blocko that I play in is playing on Fat Tuesday. We're playing Carnaval at Cranard Center for the Performing Arts. I was corrected on this already, and I'm just making a flyer for it. And I just clicked remix a whole bunch of times, and I'm like, it just doesn't look good. It's not my aesthetic, and my aesthetic doesn't matter in this because it needs to look like a Brazilian blocko, like playing Carnival. So like I don't even know what my aesthetic is,
Yeah.
Like I like Jay Ryan posters, right? That's yeah. Like I don't even have an aesthetic, which I guess is a step forward, but still it's just like I ended up with like, there are like 3 little buttons. There's a button you can click that'll put a shadow underneath the font, and then you can color it whatever color you want. So it was like, oh, I'll make orange, and then there's like you can put an outline just by clicking a little button, and it's all in your phone. Oh my God, I started getting more and more depressed. Like even today, I like went into it for like 2 hours, and then you had said the thing about like you realize that nothing takes as short as you think it's going to take. It takes longer. It's going to take longer. But like if I
not punishing myself for something taking longer than I think it should. It's
Yeah.
like just deal with it. It's like not spending half your time being upset that it's taken longer.
I know too. Like I even know like, okay, there's 5 fonts on here, 5 different fonts. That's wrong. There needs to only be 2. If there's more than 1, there needs to be just 2. And
I'm trying to remember Massimo Vignelli. Is that right? Yeah, like only using 6 typefaces during his whole career. It was like,
yeah,
these are the only 6 typefaces you need.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well that explains why Helvetica was, half of his designs. But it was like, that
It's a
idea
big
of
family.
restrictions, limitations,
Yeah.
right? And trying to,
Oh, and there are restrictions built into this too, because when you press design, it remixes it like you only get to do this. Like it's going to make there's restrictions built into it too, but they're not. Yeah, it's just terrible. I need to not mess with it anymore. Oh, God. Or I need to mess with it more and just learn. Yeah, I'm done talking about this subject. Okay, let's move on. Restrictions in art. Subject number 5.4. Rick and Rose. Our mission statement. It's one of the things that we talk about all the time. So what else? What else is going on?
I don't know.
I like the TV show with the woman with the kind of hair that I have.
Poker Face.
That's good.
I think we talk about it last
Probably,
time.
yeah,
I feel like I can't remember if it had started
Yeah.
by then.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a new episode that's come out. I mean, I this came up in our interview today, but the thing I'm thinking about now is so Last of Us, and I understand the bottle episode with the guys in their kind of compound,
Spoiler alert.
their neighborhood. Well, this is like 2 weeks ago, and it's been on the internet.
I haven't watched it, but yeah.
But people talking about how it's conservative, right? It's got guns and it's a very conservative worldview. But my thinking, they like in the neighborhood. Like I was driving around our neighborhood the other day, as I always do when I come to and from our house. But I was thinking about that episode where they're kind of living in this small town, and they've kind of turned it into an encampment. It's got fenced in and everything like that. But then everything's overgrown a bit and a little shoddy, and then they've got backyard gardens that they're growing all their food in and everything like that. And then I was driving around our neighborhood, and I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if our neighborhood looked like these post-apocalyptic towns in these movies and TV shows? So like in Station 11,
it does kind of,
and it kind of does, but not enough. And it's like, wouldn't it be great if we could go into this more sustainable, sort of more natural kind of civilization without having weapons, having it be like you have to defend yourself, and without there being an apocalypse.
what a great idea. Can I have a front yard garden next summer?
Yeah, but that's what I was
Can
saying.
I?
Is like every time they show these places, it's like, oh, this is the result of some apocalyptic event, and in order to maintain it, you have to have a military grade weaponry. And it's like, what if? But this could also be utopia. It doesn't have to be the apocalypse. We could have a utopian goal where it's like, yeah, let's make this where everyone's not connected up to the power grid 24/7. Maybe you have some self-power stuff, or you have solar, and then you're growing food in your yard, and there's not this emphasis on watering your lawn and making sure that it's green and there are no weeds in it. It's like, what if everything just why can't we make a world like that without having to have some kind of plague or nuclear? Well, it wouldn't be nuclear. That's the thing now, is all of these apocalypse shows are about a plague as opposed to a nuclear. So before it was like, oh, the apocalypse, it was going to be nuclear, and it would be a wasteland. And then all these shows, you see the beautiful side of this, which is like, oh yeah, we're living closer to nature again. And it's a little scary, and then you have all the military stuff and the people trying to kill each other. Like, but what if it wasn't like that? What if we just had a nice, sort of apocalyptic future that wasn't apocalyptic?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we make a front yard garden in the summer? This
well,
is
you know what?
2/10/23.
No, not until the backyard garden is maintained.
I
and
can't
done.
maintain the backyard garden because there are trees everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
The
I
front
don't
yard
wanna-
garden. Yeah, see?
But you
that's
don't
why we
no,
can't.
It's not. But there's stuff that grows in that backyard garden, and it's, you have to spend a little more time and effort.
And this is why we can't have what you're talking
But
about.
I've talked about this before. Yeah,
Okay.
Going to a more natural lawn and everything like that. But it was just a realization I had, is that like there's some beauty in this, and then like why can the only pathway to this beautiful environment, why is the only narrative pathway the collapse of civilization?
Well, it's because some people who live around here don't like front yard gardens.
Yeah, but
like
but
you.
It's not that I
You're
don't
the
like
one who's
front
standing
yard.
in the way.
No.
All right. So John Anderson says, I haven't seen Poker Face yet, but I thought Russian Doll was great. Andy Lester likes, I think he says Poker Face is top notch.
Yeah.
Larry says that I bet Rick is dying to see Cocaine Bear. And Rodney says, if you commit to this, always carry an axe or a sword. And Rodney says, my friend had a front yard garden. His neighbors hated him for it.
Yeah,
always left
exactly.
nasty letters on his door. There's a frickin' Indian coin
All right, here we
10
go.
steps away from our house.
I don't know who you're yelling at.
What I'm yelling at is who is going to complain that we have fucking tomatoes in our front yard when there's a giant falling apart racist Indian coin in between our house and the next door neighbor's house. Who's going to complain?
The people who love that thing and come by and say how much they love it.
We're going to say
They're
that
gonna
it's
also
it's
complain. Why
these
do you
are
have this?
Because the Indian
Why do you have
planted
this unmaintained
No,
bunch of
my God.
overgrown
Right.
tomato plants in your front yard? Sorry, I'm not against it. I want to transition to a natural front yard. I'm not sure a garden is the solution, but
Well,
I think my greater point is that
yeah, I got your greater point, but if you're gonna walk the walk, talk the talk. You're gonna talk the talk, walk the walk.
I'm talking more on kind of like a universal level.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, why does this change always have to be? Yeah, why do you have to carry a sword or an axe?
It's
why,
because
why
people
is,
run around.
Why there have to be zombies? Why do you have to have an electrified?
Well, that's what our
fence
coloring book
or
is going to be about. It's going to be about like just nothing. That's what my book is about. Nothing bad happened. It's like we went on tour and nothing bad happened. All this great stuff happened. Living in awe. I think some the New York Times have something about living in awe. I can't remember. So something crossed my while I was like up in the middle of the night, like trying not to pick up my phone, but I did. Native plants in the front yard. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. Stephen Johnson says.
Mm-hmm.
Native plants in the front yard.
That I'm more up for than trying to go full garden in the front yard.
And somebody across the street actually has a front yard garden with all kinds of food in it and stuff.
Yeah, there's a trend.
Okay, what
Cultural
else?
trend.
442. Give me something else. What did you think? Did you like E.T. this time?
No, but I don't want to spoil
Your
there's
other
a whole,
podcast.
Yeah, there's a deep dive into E.T. and another film that I do not want to. Don't give away.
I won't give it away.
I think it's a great episode.
All right. What else? What else have you done this week?
What else have I done?
You've been working very hard.
I have been working diligently.
Yes.
And
yeah.
my mind's kind of a blank.
Well, can you help me figure out how to answer what it's like to be a woman writing a book?
I don't think that's the issue. I think it's so.
It was so hard to write about any kind of gender stuff. Because I wasn't like a riot girl either. Like I'm not. I just blissfully ignorant about any of that stuff.
But I don't think you were. Yeah, maybe ignorant, but I think what it is it's an interesting story about how you've gone through all these sort of realms that were male dominated, like the computer science stuff, and then the band, the music stuff, right? And you're aware of the bias that was there against women.
Yeah, a little bit. I was a little bit aware.
It didn't stop you from doing stuff. That's what's interesting to me is you just kind of, and it's not, and I use the word clueless, but it's more kind of like you just kind of, it's like you just kept going. It's just more like
such a good, it's a great word. Clueless.
There's no, wait, I'm the only woman here. Oh,
I know. Yeah.
Whereas
that's
I
fine.
think
it didn't matter to me.
Other women's experiences are like I did not feel welcome here. I noticed that there were no other women here. It didn't feel welcoming. Men would say these awful things to me, and and you more have this retroactive. It's kind of like the reveal in movies, where everything that you think the story was this, and then you turn around and you realize, oh no, everything was. Like, whatever, the usual suspects or something, right? It's that kind of like twist where it's like you experienced all of the issues that women experience,
yeah.
but for some reason you didn't listen. It's like you were constantly being told you don't belong here. You're not.
I wasn't being told that.
You were, and you
No,
didn't realize it. You didn't realize that the culture and the
It's like
cultures
somebody
you were
who just
in,
says-
but
yeah,
they were
yeah.
welcoming. So the thing
Yeah,
is,
they were always welcoming.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
like people were trying, like saw a woman on stage and then tried to burn the club down. It wasn't
Correct.
that. So
Yeah.
that's the thing is, it was this transitional period where you could make some inroads and you could be allowed. Right. And there wasn't a violent kind of reaction to you being there. Right.
Yeah.
And
like,
in those places, occasionally, right? Yes, you had that computer science professor tell you that this class is not for women.
okay,
right?
and then dude who like when I was a computer programmer when I was in undergrad, like the dude putting his hand on my knee and stuff, and I would just be like, I better wear pants, like you know, because I don't like when he puts his hand on my knee.
And so that to me is an
It's
interesting.
clueless. I should have been
character.
like, hey.
It's not quite clueless. It's just kind of, and I would call it like perseverance, but it's almost like you don't even acknowledge the barrier. You see the barrier, and then you just kind of keep going. And that's what's interesting about it. It seems funny, but I think it's also a different narrative. So all the same things are happening, but for some reason, you I don't know. It's.
But I've already been lambasted.
You just continued on.
Yeah, I'll be lambasted again. Like it's gonna come. People are gonna be like, I'm gonna be like the Harry Potter woman.
Yeah, I don't think so though.
No,
unless you say something
Unless I keep
stupid,
talking.
right? No,
Yeah.
but I mean, the thing is that
It already happened though. While I was writing this, like I remember writing something like when it was during the Me Too. I'm gonna have to go back and look at my notes, and I did take notes. I'm gonna have to go back and look like my crazy emails to the publisher and stuff. Like during Me Too, I was like, well, I never got Me Too'd, and like some lady from around here, like other person in music was just like just wrote this terrible and I was like, what welcome to Bloomington, maybe I should go move back to Champaign. It was really weird, and I can't remember it very well, but like I realized, okay, well that's not something I should say. I guess it's my experience, but I guess it's not valid.
Well, it's whether or not that experience is viewed as
insulting others
or dismissing other people's
others,
experiences.
right.
And I don't think that's what you're doing. But
No.
sometimes what happens, though, is people feel like, oh, if you say you have a different experience in the same situation, they feel like you're diminishing.
Right. That's like, you talk about like how you don't do drugs, and then other people are like, oh, feeling bad about themselves for doing drugs and stuff. So that's, or you don't eat meat, and then somebody finds out that you don't eat meat, and then all of a sudden they their whole life is about like how, oh shit, I eat meat, but fuck you for not eating meat. You're a lady.
Stop judging me.
Yeah. Stop judging me for not eating meat. Yeah, I'm like I said though, I'm gonna have to figure out how to. Because, and then they asked us, they asked us, who was mean to you and stuff. And like, I didn't want to say who was mean to us.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't
But
want.
again,
only one
let's
band was mean.
Let's not get into
Fucking
too
urge
deep,
overkill. No, I'm just kidding.
into deep on that, because I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to say anything. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
You guys got to. I hope they put our. I hope they. Well, no, but that's the thing. So that that isn't like somebody. Yeah, that's why I was never a riot girl. I'm just not a riot girl.
But you are. I don't know. I think you're an example, and I think
An example of something, but it's not a good example. Like
don't
it's not
think
like a
that's true.
fighting like
no, but that
woman,
But there are different ways, of being, a mentor or an example. It doesn't have to be, one way. Right? So,
yeah.
and the way other people form opinions about culture and what's possible. And, so another woman or a girl seeing you on stage, and maybe someone who doesn't feel like they have to, they have the ability to be an active, sort of an activist or a protester or in your face type of, agent of change. They can see someone like you who just is, right? And maybe is an agent of change, but in a much more subtle and kind of, much more subtle way. And that's an alternative. It's not dismissing the other method.
Right.
Right.
That's the thing I have to just be careful of, I
Yeah.
think. So
Yeah.
I'm imagining there's a capoeira move where you just it's a headbutt, and like there's a fence there, like a glass ceiling, but it's a fence. And then some people will be coming towards the fence, like with their torches and stuff and going, knock this fence down. And I kind of just put my head down and like just go like through the fence. And yeah, okay. It helps a little bit, but it's going to be really rough. I think I'm going to have all the Harry Potter people who hate, what the hell is her name?
Don't say something stupid and
Ursula Le Guin.
and
What's her name?
uncaring, and
Yeah.
insensitive. I mean, because that kind of thing all comes from a lot of times people like that. They have empathy, but then they also have ego. And then if someone challenges them on their worldview, and it also challenges whether or not they're fully open-minded or caring, that's a hard thing to take, and you might hunker down and say, well, no, I'm right, I'm a good person, and what I said is right. And then they wind up going down this hole of justifying themselves because they aren't open to the idea that maybe they said something wrong, or maybe their worldview is shifting, or it's just like you get old and you get out of sync, the world changes, and you start, what used to be the right thing to say is now really effing stupid and insensitive, right?
Yeah,
and that's the
happens.
battle everyone
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
And that's you could say that's the whole reason for our culture wars, is because not everybody is on the same page on what the world should be or how the world should be. Yeah.
Do you have something to say about wasn't it Florida? What did I hear? I heard a story yesterday that they wanted the female athletes. They were going to require them to send in their menstruation records if they wanted to play on sports teams in high school. And the Florida, that was happening in Florida, and it was voted down.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was due to privacy concerns.
But that's the frog in boiling water thing. Like, that's so extreme.
Can
and
you imagine?
then some other crazy ass bullshit that's less extreme than that is gonna wind up seeming okay because they're moving the bar and they're testing, and then it's like, oh, well, at least they're not asking us to send our
menstrual cycle records
Yeah.
to make sure that that's a woman there. Yeah, it's gonna be rough sailing. But you know what? Maybe I won't have a lot of other interviews, and you'll come with me to help rescue me.
I don't think
on
I don't
lots
think
of
it's
them.
good for me to be there.
I know, but
I think you need to
I
be
know.
your own person.
I am my own person. It's
There you
just that
go.
you're the person who understands me more than anybody else, including myself. So, what else you got? Thank you for entertaining that.
Yeah.
So, what else?
I don't know. What else is going on in the world?
Do we have to hate Biden because he's old? Because he has experience too. Like, can we just coast another 4 years? Even though it's an old white man, and then get somebody younger,
And then go into the abyss?
The thing is, just because he's old, I mean, I know. I wish there was a younger person. I wish there was somebody different.
Well, this was the thing about, what was it in the Fourth Turning, that book talking about the generations and everything, and they basically said, oh, what's going to happen is Gen X is not going to have a president. It's going to skip by. That's what happens to these in between generations. Is like you won't get a president.
Trump was still a hippie, right?
Yeah, and then Barack
embodiment.
Obama is so close to the edge. He's almost
hippie / Gen X, but more of a hippie still.
He's right on the edge of Boomer Gen X. So he barely counts. And then it's just like, oh yeah. So what's going to happen is we're going to have another. Yeah, we have this old Boomer, and then we're going to have
Are there? Well,
millennial, right?
Rick
Yeah.
DeSantis, is he a
I think
millennial?
he's a millennial.
President
Is he?
DeSantis?
I don't know. Maybe he's Gen X.
Yeah, but does he
I don't
count?
want him to
yeah,
be.
he can't be. Yeah. Ugh, that's so depressing.
Ron DeSantis.
Net worth? Question mark. Do you ever like type in a name on the internet and it's just like see the autocorrects? Married? Net worth?
What is Ron DeSantis' ethnicity?
I
is
typed
one
in
of the questions.
Ian Mackay. I typed in Ian Mackay, and it said Ian Mackay has ever drank a beer. Like somebody's looking that up on the internet to find out if Ian Mackay ever drank a beer.
So DeSantis is 1978 birthday, so he's right at the end.
Oh, okay. There's some more movement here. Larry says, "Are you guys going to update the Radio Zero thumbnail photo? Rick looks naked without the beard being featured." Yeah, I fucking hate that picture. I look like I'm even older than I am in that picture. I hate it so much.
What's funny is that's the replacement picture for the picture that you used to say that same thing.
I hate. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I just look old. But I just took a picture of myself, and I don't look that old.
Okay.
And then Rodney says, "Don't give me that nightmare."
In my copious free time.
Well,
what's the nightmare? Wait, I can't.
I
There's
think
a little
it's
delay, right?
Something about you being naked.
Oh, okay.
Rick looks naked without the beard being featured. Yeah. Ian,
yeah.
Danny, I don't want to hear that. I'm not even going to read it.
Oh.
Ian had wine on my 40th birthday? Really? I don't believe it. Maybe he just pretended to. Now I'm going to I'm going to have to ask him. The next time I talk to him, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him the question. I'm going to confront him.
Yeah, I don't think you should expect
somebody to never drink any, like, also it was a toast, but I'll have to ask him about it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I'm getting some nice sunlight.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, it's the golden hour here at Radio Zero, 4:57 p.m. on a Friday, February 10th. And we got a little Led Zeppelin for you here. 4 sticks. Here we go.
I just heard I was on one of the radio stations when I was in the car, and it said, "Do you have a vinyl collection? This is the radio station for you." I was like, "What the hell does that mean?"
It means
this is old people music.
Well, it's the same crap that you hear on any radio station anyway. All right, come on, spit something out. Be interesting.
Be interesting.
Did he really? He really had wine.
Oh my God! Really, you're gonna be?
Well, no, I mean, I tried different drugs. I didn't try cocaine though, or heroin. Who was I talking to about this? I was talking to the kids.
Who was I talking to? Was saying, you gotta try heroin. You gotta try cocaine. Do you Sigmund Freud? Do you know Sigmund Freud? Big cocaine guy.
When I stand in front of a class, like especially music business class now, it's like it's all changed because you can get pot, right? It's legal now here in Illinois, right? Yeah, you can. You don't even have to be sick to get it. Right? So you can get it. So it's not illegal anymore. When I first started teaching, you couldn't get that.
So now it's just kind of like telling people not to drink. You're just a judgy school marm.
I didn't tell him not to smoke pot, but like I mean, it's not nice to make fun of people who are on drugs, right? But I think that would slip out sometimes. I'd be like, this person was on drugs. Ha, ha, ha. I'd laugh at them and stuff. Have you never had wine at Seder? So to me, having a sip of wine because late tugs are going to get mad at you, which I didn't have a sip of wine and they got mad at us.
But wasn't that guy? Oh no, he wasn't with late tugs. The French guy whose parents owned a vineyard and he didn't drink. He was just you have no idea how difficult my life is.
Oh yeah, I'll bet. Yeah. Like that's different than like having a glass of wine because I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, all right, I'm going to be with people drinking mimosas tomorrow and like I don't like, it's kind of like I'm going to be with people who are speaking a different language, because I don't understand like I don't get like how you would drink something like with alcohol in it and then drive home. That's what I don't get. That like I need somebody to explain that to me.
Well, no, that's why people like you are around to drive people home. So what you're saying, Rose, is buzz driving is drunk driving?
So all right, now I gotta. Okay, the Rodney is saying, "Don't give me the nightmare," referring to President DeSantis, and Larry's saying no on no on Cocaine Bear. That's very funny. And then Dannon says I could ask Joe Lally next time I have a bass lesson with him and see if he knows. I was thinking about trying to take a bass lesson from Joe Lally, but like the truth is, I don't actually want to practice a bass. Unless I have to, and that's why I'm not taking a bass lesson with Joe Lally. But I'm going to ask Ian from the horse's mouth himself about if he drank wine. Larry says wine is good for you.
How often are those? So the curiosity I have is I know there's been some situations where people who give lessons, specifically say, I will not be talking to you. You're not paying for 30 minutes to talk to me about Fugazi.
You're not paying 30 minutes. And really the quote was, you're not paying for me to talk about hum.
Yeah, but it's that kind of, I know lots of people have that problem where it's just kind of like you're trying to give lessons and people just want to talk to you about.
Danny is saying Ian is still straight edge.
What's interesting, I heard a whole radio thing, and it's a guy at Grinnell College who kind of, I don't know if, I think he studies, cultural alcohol and culture, but it was also a straight edge guy from DC. I'm trying to remember his name. It was really interesting, but he was talking about how things are changing, but also lots of discussion about, alcohol being something that helps civilization because it does foster communication and, lowering, resistance.
Yeah.
In terms of, like the social.
Lowering the
yeah.
Not resistance, but resistance to opening up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the same way that like cigarettes and coffee, right? So, once you had the coffee houses where people are smoking like crazy, guys like hanging out all night talking about, hey, maybe we don't need a king. Maybe we should do a democracy. And they're just like these guys hyped up on cigarettes and coffee, and it changed the world, right? And so it's a more complex thing than just simply like, oh, it's good or bad. It's like, oh, it's part of the culture. But what was interesting is talking about that idea of it being a social lubricant, but then how younger people, this younger generations aren't drinking as much, and it's like talking about how they have other methods of socializing, right? So if you have online, and social media, you don't need to go to a bar, you don't need to have alcohol
you don't need to be inhibited.
Yeah. Is social media might be part of the reason why people aren't drinking as much is because there's a new sort of invention, right?
Yeah,
human invention that helps foster community and communication and inhibition, like reduces inhibition. And so
yes on Cocaine Bear, Larry, and maybe it should be
curious.
Facebook Bear.
I want to support Elizabeth Banks as a director, even though I'm trying to think of what was the other movie. I can't remember what other movie she directed, but it seems like she's directing more kind of like mainstream fare, which, I want to support female directors, but I also don't feel like I need to watch movies that are not good or are more kind of like mainstream films that I wouldn't enjoy anyways.
Wait.
But Cocaine Bear, maybe I feel like it's not a theater-worthy movie. It might be something I watch on streaming.
So it's a bear that got cocaine and then went crazy because it's got cocaine and it went to kill people?
I believe so.
How did they? It's not a real bear though, right? It's a person in a bear costume.
How did they make
how
the
did they
movie?
make the movie?
Well, now you can make digital bears. They're very believable. Digital bears are very. It's not going to be like Prophecy.
Okay.
And I'll have to be. I'll be honest. I don't like scary. I mean, I guess Cocaine Bear is not quite a horror movie, but it's probably a little too intense for sensitive Rick. Like Prophecy. I saw that when I was in high school because Prophecy, somehow that movie was PG. Saw it at the Grange Theater and it scarred me for life. John Frankenheimer film too, by the way.
Oh, then that's horror, right?
I'm talking myself into watching it.
Good. All right. Well, there you go. So, like, I was sitting. I think I was trying to watch The Last of Us. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying just because I remember when the kids were playing the game, they were always talking about it, and so I sat in there for a little while, and I think I was in there and like the two people came. Oh, and it's the Mandalorian, isn't it too? So that's nice. So I was watching him for a while because he's easy on the eyes. And the little girl was kind of cool. She reminded me of Dow, right? But then there's like this other person that came out and they were like yelling, "Help me, help me, help me," and they killed him. And I was like, I got up and walked out of the room because
that is kind of what I'm talking about. Is like it's always about how awful people are. I guess that's why it's entertaining, and that's why they're apocalypse movies. But well, so Station 11 has some elements of that. But I feel like Station 11, at least, that's why I like it. Station 11 I like just because it's all about art and how art is important.
I got to watch that, I guess.
Total fantasy, apocalyptic fantasy, where it's like, oh, there's scary problems and everything like that, but also art is important.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's
that's
like
apocalyptic fantasy.
Total fantasy, right? But it is hopeful in a way.
But there's got to be a difference between what I just watched, them killing that little boy, and Hereditary, right? So for some reason, like that, like at the end, dude becomes a king or whatever, and it's like, oh, this is great. I was like all into it. But man, it was a lot to go through in order to get to that ending. I don't know. All right. Oh, here we go. We got a bunch of stuff here. Dan and Charlie Edwards is here too. The Quaker is here. Larry says that wine is good for you, but it has to be good wine, not Mad Dog. Larry says something is loosely based on a true story. It's probably Cocaine Bear that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Charlie the Quaker says probably some guy who got high on cocaine and thought he was a bear. That's good. Then we got Dannon says, I meet with Joe every other week over Skype, and we almost never talk about Fugazi. I had been taking lessons with Joe for over a year and a half before we even discussed the Fugazi song. He'll occasionally bring up something about Ian, but usually it's I keep forgetting about Kirky. And Kirky is awesome. Like, have you heard? I have Kirky songs on my laptop. And Dana says she directed the 2019 Charlie's Angels, Pitch Perfect 2, and Movie 43.
Yeah, those aren't movies for me, but that's fine. It's great that she's directing movies.
Danny says I won't let my son drive the car after watching Hereditary. Oh man, yeah, there's a lot to. Well, don't let him get high and drive the car.
And always remember the frickin' EpiPen.
Oh. I guess I don't really like that movie that much, but I enjoy, it was a good payoff at the end, kind of like Karate Kid.
It's similar. It's similar to Exorcist 3 in that, like, you kind of forget all the stuff that you didn't like about it, right? That's the thing. Is like there's some really great stuff, but then it's like, oh yeah, I don't like that part where that poor girl loses her head.
So my update on the what is it called? Not Star Wars, but my
Star
head,
Trek?
my head, my update on my mind. This is like, God damn it. What is it that I'm watching? See, this is why we can't have nice things. The Clone Wars. I'm on season 4, episode 17.
We're out of time. I'm sorry.
Called The Box. And shit's going down now. Some bad stuff is happening. So, okay, all right, yeah. Larry says going to watch Surf Nazis Must Die on Peacock this weekend. Should be a cinematic experience. See, that sounds really good. What is that?
That's
something
old,
we need
right?
to watch?
Yeah.
Joe is a great teacher. He has taught my son all the Mesthetics songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I'm sure it's great. I'm thinking of what's her name, the famous bass player who played on even more songs, who claims to play on even more songs than she actually played on. Oh, what the hell's her name?
Are you talking about a movie or
no,
Joe
the
teaching?
bass player. No, the woman bass player from the 60s.
Carol
Kay.
Okay.
Right? And
Wow,
then
I
if you
can't
look up
believe
her
I knew that.
lessons, what does it say?
Yeah.
No punk rockers.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
otherwise I
won't.
would have taken lessons from her. Would you teach something, Rick?
No, absolutely not.
Like a master class in home recording?
No.
What could you teach?
I teach what I teach.
Oh, yeah.
At a university.
Yeah,
That's fine. No,
Yeah.
I don't feel I feel like I'm let's just charitably call myself a unique artist. Like I don't think I have transferable skills. Like I'm not a masterclass kind of person, not just because I'm not famous, but also because I don't think I have deep insights into the process.
Wait, so is Danny saying? Wait, who's actually taking lessons with Joe all the time?
A
Then
couple people. It sounds like a couple people.
okay, yeah. If you
Or
guys are doing
someone's
that, then
kid
tell
and
Joe that we said hi.
Yeah, you know, you can just pay for a lesson and talk to him for 30 minutes.
I would
instead of-
Hey, so yeah. Like I wonder if he'd. Well, no, he wouldn't want to do that. He'd just want to teach me. Okay, Danny's son. He would just want to teach me bass and have me not talk to him about Fugazi.
Well, I'm sure he wouldn't mind if you just
Hey,
emailed
Can
him
you
and
teach
and
me
said,
the bass part to waiting room? Is this right? Like, do.
Did you ever think about doing this?
What a sweet guy, though. Like those. That's what I was like. Just remembering, like sitting in front of that class with like Ian on the screen and just like trying to. And somebody asked him like, "How do you know Rose?" Because some people were just like, "What the hell? How come Rose knows this like famous rock person?" You know, and just trying to remember like the first time we played with them and stuff, and just all the great conversations we've had. And you know, Dan says you asked me to say hi to Joe a while back, and I did. Okay, well, say again. Jared from Waiting Room is like texting me about there being 3 copies of my book at Waiting Room Records because Michael Rue just dropped them off, which means Michael Rue is in our town.
Oh my God, he's standing. No, he's just looking.
You'd see him because he's really tall.
He is tall.
All right. Well, we're past time.
Yeah.
And you
Roger
listened to
Miller,
us.
that was the guitarist from not Roger Miller, the country star. Roger Miller from
Mission to Burma.
Mission to Burma was giving guitar lessons for a while, and I seriously considered that. That I should have done. I can't believe I didn't do that.
Who would you take lessons from?
Roger Miller from Mission to Burma.
Okay, and that's it? Only him?
Probably. I mean, it's
Wow.
not that other people couldn't teach me things. It's just I don't think I would be interested in what other.
That's
there are
kind of
very
neat,
few
though.
guitarists that I would be interested in, like Tom Verlaine, maybe. I guess Richard Lloyd, but I think he's a little loopy. I think he might do lessons. I felt like maybe Richard Lloyd was doing lessons. But yeah, I think that would be. Yeah, I can't think of very many, and it's not because I feel like I know everything. It's just like I don't want to know. I really don't want to know normal guitar lesson stuff. I'm more interested in interesting, sort of unique guitar people. Well, that's the thing too. Is I like unique guitarists, and so getting a lesson, I don't know if that would be useful because I don't want to learn how to play like someone else.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I wouldn't want to learn. I wouldn't want to know how to play like Joe.
I want to learn how to play like myself, but better.
Yeah.
So I guess that
practice.
could be. Yeah, and like Robert Fripp, like everything I've heard about that is like, oh yeah, no, that would be. I don't think I want to do that because I don't want to sound like Robert Fripp because we saw that League of Crafty Guitarists years ago, like 30 years ago, maybe. I can't remember. They played in Champaign once, and it was like, oh, this is a bunch of people that sound like Robert Fripp.
Right.
And it's like, okay, you can't break out of the box. Adrian Blue.
Do you know what I'd like to do though? I'd like to go to Disney World or Disneyland and build my own lightsaber.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
neat. Yeah. All right.
Okay, everybody.
May the force be with you.
We're going to tuck you in now. Shh.
Did you
Quiet
press
down.
record even?
Oh, no. Okay, go to bed.
It is like the golden hour here.
Sunset. Because, of course, now we're going to live in a non-post-apocalyptic world where we don't use electric
It's
lights.
sunset on the Sabbath.
Yeah, we're going to go to sleep next to our little indoor fire.